Part 2 of Oilers TV playoffs presented by Sport Check as we head into Game 3 of this Western Conference semifinal. Tom Gazzola with Bob Stauffer from the Oilers Radio Network. Bob, we're going to take a look at the Anaheim Ducks and their situation right now. Familiar territory for them in recent years, going down 2-0 in a series. Doesn't really bother them because they've been able to come back from that. But when you look at the way they've played really well in the first two games, especially Game 2. But Cam Talbot has been there to shut the door.
Well, you know what? Goaltender is part of a team. And in the Oilers' case, they got a goaltender that they want to play for, not play with. Right? And I think that the guys know that they got to have an infinitely superior performance. But Talbot was locked in. He wasn't great, in my opinion, game number one. And I think that if you take a look at the Honda Center, there's been some challenges with lighting. They've tested them a lot from long distance. And that's why part of the reason why the shot totals are a little bit deceptive.
Weird bounces in that building, too. That's another thing.
Anaheim shooting from further out. The Oilers are trying to move Gibson around a little bit more. But let's face it, Game 2, Talbot was locked in. He stole that hockey game, and that happens during the course of the playoffs. Tim Thomas, 54 saves Game 2 for Boston against Philly back in 2011 when they went to the Stanley Cup final, ended up winning the championship that year. Jonathan Quick, same deal. So the Oilers are getting the stops right now. They need that to continue, but they need to play better.
If you're the Ducks, is it more of the same? Is there a message you need to send to the team going into Game 3, or you just say keep peppering Cam Talbot?
I think they just got to. I'm not sure they can pepper him to that degree because I expect Edmonton to have a response in terms of the 5-on-5 play and that sort of thing. And discipline remains a key factor in this series as well. But if you're Anaheim, I mean, I don't know what else you can do. They've tested him from long range. They got a couple past him earlier during the season from out there. But, you know, he's elevated, and you're not surprised. I'm not surprised. He's done it all year.
All right, let's hear from the Ducks and what they think they need to do to solve Talbot.
It's cliche, obviously everyone's going to say it, but I think we could find a little bit more ways to find some traffic in front of him when we get some point shots through. You know, we've been getting some really good looks in the middle and near him that he's made some good stops on. You just can't take that away from him. But, you know, a lot of times at this time of the year, goals go in when you have some traffic and point shots come in and you just can't see it or there's some tips. So if we could start getting some goals like that, I think it'll boost our confidence and hopefully other ones go in.
Well, we made him work the other night. It's just that we felt that there are some situations that we didn't get people to the front of the net and it was too easy for him to see everything. So I'm sure they're speaking to the same terms over there. Get to our goaltender's feet, get to areas at the top of the crease where he can't see the puck, and that's really what Maroon's out there to do. That's what Draisaitl's out there to do. That's the way the game is played today. A lot of goals are being scored from either deflections or secondary opportunities from in tight around the net.
You know, I don't think we want to change anything. I think if anything, we want to get in front of his eyes a little bit more. You know, maybe prevent him from seeing more pucks. We got a lot thrown towards him, and he was finding ways to stop him. So I think if we can just get in front of him and maybe keep throwing the same amount of pucks there, they'll start going by him more.
You saw in the third period, you know, we had a lot of time in their own end, and so if you continue with that formula, you know, you expect at some point something's going to break, and unfortunately it didn't in Game 2, but there's no reason to get discouraged with that. You know, if we continue with that mentality, you have to have a little bit of patience when it comes to this time of year, and you know, that we have a lot of guys in here that have done this before, and we understand that if we continue to do that, then hopefully things will turn in our favor.
So the Ducks trying to get back into this series, of course, down 2-0. The Oilers trying to take a stranglehold on it. Now, Bob, like you touched on earlier, all-time the Ducks have gone and lost the first 2 games of a series 7 times in franchise history. They've lost all 7 of those series. In 3 of those 7, they've actually managed to force a Game 7.
Well, I think that's the key stat is this organization, certainly of late, has shown a propensity to extend series, and if not for a break, they could have won a couple of those. I know the Oilers players think they're far from done here. They know they got a lot of work left to do. Any team with Ryan Getzlaf playing the way he is right now is going to be a force. Obviously, they can move the puck in the back end. They got a good goaltender themselves in John Gibson. So, you know, this is a huge game tonight at Rogers Place, but even at 3-0 down, it's not over. You have Milan Lucic in Boston, saw the Flyers rally from 3-0 down the year before they won the Cup, and Todd McClellan, obviously, the year LA won it back in 2014 when he was in San Jose. It takes 4 games to win the series. You got to go get those 4.
Win or lose, word coming out of the Ducks camp is that they're headed to Kelowna following the game tonight. What do you make of that move, Bob?
Well, I do find that interesting, and I do think that if the Oilers get the win tonight, I actually think it's a stroke of brilliance. I really do. I don't mind that at all. Gives you a chance to reset, especially with the everyday, the extra game day in between the game, and you end up in a scenario where it might work a bit against Edmonton. Because if the Oilers can gain some momentum here, get the victory tonight, you're up 3-0, right? You want to play right away again if you're Edmonton. Gives the Anaheim Ducks a chance to recalibrate in Kelowna.
All right, that does it for Oilers TV playoffs. Presented by Sport Check. Of course, we've got you covered live post-game. Bob and Jack Michaels have the call for you tonight on 6:30, CHED, 5 p.m. Face-Off.